Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we are doing something out of the ordinary and heading right into the danger. We're going to be playing some hardcore Minecraft today. Now everybody has been telling me that I need to do a hardcore series, and frankly I'm a little scared. I mean, you can't die, and if you die then you lose everything. To soothe the masses, I thought we would do one episode. Just one. You're not getting another one. So if I die in this, then it doesn't really matter because this is just going to be one episode. I'll be using this little tracker up in the corner to count the days. So strap yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen, as we go through 100 days of hardcore Minecraft. So we loaded into the world and immediately got to chopping some wood and starting to get our tools. I feel like the first day of a hardcore series, you are trying to kind of race against the sun to get all your tools and all your items that you need before going into a cave for the first night. And so I got a pickaxe and an axe before heading over to mine some stone so we could get some cobblestone tools because those will be better. And so I got an axe, a pickaxe, and a sword because we will have this for longer than our wooden tools. And then I killed some cows for food because we're gonna definitely need a lot of food. Then I gathered some coal so we could cook our food in the smelter that we made, and we got that beef cooking so that then it would be good for us. And then I gathered up everything once that was all done and ready to go and head off to try to find a cave. I killed some more animals so that then we could get some more food. I found this very scary looking cave and I went down and gathered some coal that was near the surface so we could make some torches. And then I gathered some more coal and fell through this hole and found some even more coal. And then I went searching for a cave that could get me iron, and I found iron pretty quickly in this cave down at the bottom here, and I gathered all of that so we could make ourselves a shield because from what I've seen, the number one tool in hardcore Minecraft is the shield. And so we equipped that as well as made ourselves some little booties and a sword so that then we can be more protected as we're going around. And then I made a bed and I slept in it, and it was nighttime, so we are on to day 2. I gathered up some copper and then got out of this cave because it didn't have anything else in it and headed back to the surface. I started swimming in the water and then realized I am much better than that, so I made a boat and then started boating around in search of a cave. And I found some sugarcane along the way but continued on because I wanted to find a pretty big cave so we could find some more iron, but I could not find anything anywhere. I ended up finding this ruined portal that had a chest with a enchanted golden apple in it, which is amazing for a hardcore world, as well as a ton of other loot. And then I also found this ocean ruin that wasn't in the ocean that I got a buried treasure map from, and I followed that all the way to the buried treasure where we found some more iron and some gold. And then I continued to boat around looking for caves that we could go into to find iron out of. And then I slept and it was day 3. And I found this cave in here that had a skeleton, and this is when I killed my first monster. So that is a good achievement. And then I also collected up these pumpkins because those will come in handy someday. And then I bounce around a lot. This is sped up for you guys, but I could not find a cave to save the life of me. I found some surface iron, which was good, but only 2 pieces, which was not very good. And then I slept and it was day 4. And we still didn't have very much iron. So I ended up going along the cliffs and finding some exposed iron, but as I was boating along, which was good enough that I was able to get some more iron, and I was able to get a chest plate And then I found this really cool looking cave, which was a little bit scary to find, but I ended up finding a ton of iron, which was good. And I gathered that all up and then slept, and it was day 5. Wow, these days are going by really quickly. And then I found this little lagoon lake area, and I thought it was really cute because it was kind of secluded and in the trees. And so I decided to call this place my home. So I chopped down some trees to make some room for our future house, put down my bed and all of my items, and then also crafted up a chest so we could put away some of our items that we were not using at the present moment. And then I also made myself some leggings and a hat to finish off our iron armor. I then made myself a axe and set off in search of some spruce wood because that is my favorite wood to build out of. I also found another ruin portal that had some cool stuff, not quite the enchanted golden apple level, but pretty close. I then gathered up these sunflowers and slept, and it was day number 6. And then we got to the taiga a day later, and I mined quite a lot of it to the point that I had deforested like a lot of it. You can see in this clip right here. And then I slept and turned it into day number 8. A little bit of a time jump there because there was nothing that happened on day number 6 that was very entertaining. So then we started to head back home to our area so that then we can get started on building our house. I started using the stripped spruce wood, but eventually ended up hating that look, so I went out and searched for some dark oak wood. And then I immediately got distracted because I found a jungle, but it was all okay because there was a dark oak wood forest next to it. So I gathered up some of the jungle wood and then some of the dark oak wood as well. And then I headed back to our area so we could actually get started on building our house. I switched out all of the spruce wood for some stripped dark oak wood, and then I started making a mine because I wanted to make the bottom level of our house out of stone bricks. So I gathered up a whole bunch of stone and then smelted it all so we could turn that into stone bricks, which was starting to come together. I also used some fence posts to make the pillars look a little bit cooler, added a door, and then continued to fill in the walls with a combination of the stone bricks and some Anzanite. I also added on this floor using some spruce planks, and then continued on to the upper stories, making them out of spruce logs and some spruce planks, and then ended up making the trim out of dark oak wood as well for the roof, and continued to just build up the walls bit by bit using the spruce and the dark oak wood. And then I also made some chests and brought most of my stuff inside slowly. I also gathered up some clay because I wanted to make the roof out of terracotta, yellow terracotta to be exact. And I added on some pressure plates so that the doors will close behind us when we enter in, and slept. And now it was day 18. It took us a long time to make our build, but now we are going to head down into the mines and gather up a whole bunch of resources. And I mean a whole bunch. If you can see in this time lapse, I went for quite a while gathering up all different kinds of iron and coal and a little bit of lapis as well, all things that are good for it. And then I also proceeded down to the bottom of the world to find some diamonds and found tons of redstone and gold. and then finally got my first set of diamonds, which felt so good that I had lasted this long to get to the point that we were getting diamonds. I made myself a diamond pickaxe and continued to find tons of diamonds. I ended up getting like 20 or so diamonds. I just kept finding them as I was going in a straight line. Yeah, so I took my 19 diamonds and headed back up to the surface on day 20. I made myself a diamond chest plate and some diamond leggings, as well as a diamond sword so we can protect ourselves. I also went out in search for some lava so we could make some obsidian so we could have an enchanting table. I killed this village's iron golem and found a ruined portal in it, which was our source of lava. I gathered all the hay bales I could for food. I slept in the bed, making it day 22, and then gathered all of the obsidian we would need for a portal and a enchanting table. I also found another village on the way back, so I gathered up all of their cauldrons for some reason, and then found this really sad chest, and then headed home. I got home on day 23 and expanded our farm a little bit so it had more of the wheat, and then continued to work on my house, adding in the windows up top and sleeping to make it day 24. Wow, these days are going by really fast. I also made myself a enchanting table, which was proving taxing apparently. I placed that upstairs in our house and then was working on getting some honeycomb because my idea was to use the honeycomb and the yellow terracotta on our roof, which will be very, very cute eventually when we build up enough honeycomb, because it takes forever for the bees to make the honeycomb. But I eventually just started filling in it with yellow terracotta, and then I was just building casually when this happened. If you weren't aware, the last time I ever tried to do a hardcore world, I died to a pillager trading post in like the first 10 days. So this was basically very traumatic for me, but it's okay. I ended up killing all of them and it was totally fine. I just hate these guys so much. They're so powerful, and I hate them because they show up every 5 days and are just really annoying and everything. And anyways, back to building. So we continued on building with our house. We got the pillager banner from killing the bannerman and the bottle of bad omen, so that was cool. And then I continued working on my roof and filling it in with the yellow terracotta, filling in all sides of the wall and the roof with the yellow terracotta, which it was pretty bright, but you can see the vision with the honeycomb. Once we get more of it and start mixing it, it will start to look better. And I started on the long process of getting bookshelves for our enchanting table, collecting sugar cane, and making a pen for our animals. Once we get the cows, I also saw another random raiding party in the middle of the ocean when I was going out to find cows, which is 2 in a row in very little time. But anyways, I found the cows and brought them all the way back home, electing to walk them all the way home instead of boat them home because it was pretty close by. But when we got home, I put them in the pen and started breeding them up because we were going to need a lot of leather. And then I constructed the bookshelves that we already had using the leather that we had gathered before, and slowly just building up our collection. Anyways, let's do that again. and building up our collection, putting the bookshelf in the right place. And I went out into the world and collected sugarcane because I was waiting for sugarcane at that point to grow. So I ended up just going on an adventure and getting more of it and slaughtering a whole bunch of cows and horses to get more leather than waiting for our cows to grow up because they were just taking way too long. And so I crafted all of our bookshelves up into the actual bookshelves blocks and put them up, and we had a fully made enchanting setup, 30 levels and everything. I also continued to make the honeycomb blocks as we got more honeycomb from our lone bee farm and substituted it out so that we could get a little bit cuter of a roof. And then I also branched out our farm to include some potatoes and carrots that I had gotten, and then headed down into the mines to get a little bit more diamonds. I just wanted enough to make a full set of diamond armor, and then enough so that we will have some for tools if the other ones break, as my pickaxe was kind of getting low. So I made some boots and a helmet, as well as a diamond axe so that we can chop down trees better. I also started decorating the inside of our house with some chests up against this side wall with some trapdoors surrounding it. I also started organizing the stuff in my chest, but I am not going to show you most of that because it was very boring and took a long time to get everything sorted out. So let's continue on. I wanted to section off each little space in our house with some kind of arches, and I played around a lot of time and I automatically hated that. So I brought each of the wood pillars out by one to make it seem more claustrophobic, I guess you could call it. But I wanted it to be more tight and more squeezed up in it to make it seem more of a house, like a home. And so I added on the arches again, and I really liked this sectioned off feeling. And then I smelted some clay to make some pots so we can decorate our house with these clay pots. I love the clay pot. It's probably the best block in the game decorative wise. I also made the arches upstairs so that upstairs was sectioned off, and then added some jungle wood to the ceiling to kind of hide the yellow because I didn't think it was a good look on the inside. And then eventually our upstairs was completed after we added more of the arches on to our enchanting area to make it seem more closed off. And then I made some flower pots so we could put some cornflowers and other little bits and bobs into our pots in our house. And then I made a couple of lanterns with the iron that we had because they are so much cuter than the regular torches. And then I also made an armor stand so we could display our iron armor because we're not using that anymore. And then I made the realization that I needed 2 more bookshelves for 30 enchanting levels, so I hid those in the archway and covered them up using some trap doors, which I think turned out really cute. And on day 40, I decided that I hated the yellow roof. I don't know what I was thinking when I was doing that, but I hated it. So I collected some amethyst to change it because it would be really easy to switch it out for the amethyst block because the amethyst block is the cutest. But I very quickly ran out of the amethyst blocks in the amethyst geode that I had, so I ended up going mining and looking for another geode, just mining in a straight direction, and almost immediately found a zombie spawner, which was great because I really needed XP. So I very quickly lit that all up and defeated the zombies and blocked it all off so we would be safe. And then I checked the chest and I found quite a lot of loot in there, some iron, some bones, and then a golden apple in the other one, which was amazing. And then I very quickly started mining that out because I wanted to turn it into a spawner. But then I dug around a little bit because I kept hearing zombies, and I found another zombie spawner right underneath the original one before, and I was shocked by it. And I found so much more loot in the chest, and then decided to do a double zombie spawner, which took a little while to construct. I actually even ended up going into the nether to get some soul sand really quickly to make a bubble elevator so we could drop the zombies down further, which was a little bit scary, but I really quickly just grabbed a little bit of soul sand. All I needed was one piece, and then we had a fully functional mob farm. So I just continued to get that until I had 30 levels, and then I went upstairs and started enchanting, but very quickly just moved the enchanting table down near where I had the zombie spawner so it'd be closer, and then just took a couple of days to enchant all my armor so that then it would be fully protected, using the zombie spawner to get 30 levels over and over again so we could enchant all of our armor. And I got pretty good enchantments, and so I exited the zombie spawner on day 57 and immediately went out to find some chickens because I really wanted tons of arrows, so I would need tons of feathers. And I boated this chicken all the way back to the house and made a little pen for it right next to the cows so that then we could start getting some eggs and start collecting feathers and chicken as well. And then I brought back another chicken so we could keep breeding them up so we would have a chicken farm faster. And then I put on this wave armor trim to my chest plate because I had it on hand from when we found the buried treasure, and I thought it looked so good. But then I also found this watering trader which was selling mangrove wood, which I was so excited about, but I didn't have enough emeralds for it, which killed me kind of because mangrove is such a pretty block and I really wanted to use it. And then on day 60 I finally decided that it was time to go to the nether, which kind of scared me, and I honestly procrastinated for a long time, but I thought it was about time. So I gathered up some milk in case we got hit by withers and headed into the deep. When I got there, I started mining directly to a nether fortress. I used a little bit of chunk base to find the nether fortress because I was not trying to find my way through the nether on hardcore Minecraft, and I immediately found a blaze spawner, which was great because I needed a whole bunch of blaze rods. And so I had looting 3 at this point, so it was really easy to get tons of blaze rods really quickly. So I just killed a whole bunch of the blazes. I also had this very scary experience with a wither skeleton that I did not see and almost died to him. Kind of, not really, but it was kind of a jump scare. I also gathered up a whole bunch of nether wart and soul sand, and then I ran home because I was too scared to spend any more time in the nether, and I immediately just went home once I had gotten everything I wanted, and it was automatically nighttime, which is always my curse. But the next day I planted all of my nether wart so it could start growing up at the second floor of my house, and then because I had already moved my enchanting table down near the zombie spawner, I decided to kind of turn this level into a potions area near where we first originally put our enchanting table. So I made a brewing stand and then kind of made a workbench area with our brewing stand on it, and then added some chests to the left so we could put some potion ingredients inside. And then I awarded myself with some peaceful and chill farming because then the nether was very stressful and I was really concentrated on not dying. So I wanted a little bit of time just to chill and farm and breed up my animals. So I started working on this kind of flower bed, but for crops, surrounded by leaves near the left side of my base, first with wheat, and now we're making a potato one, and then we also made a carrot one, all using the same materials just to grow our different crops so we can have a more concentrated supply of them if we need to. And then I added a path all along through our farms up to this kind of hill area from our house, and then I also added some shutters onto our windows of our house to finally complete our house and the transformation. And then I also found this wandering trader again, another one, and he was selling moss, and I actually had the emeralds for it, so I really quickly ran and grabbed those and then bought some moss, which was great. And I used some bone meal to grow some more moss. I love moss so much. It's the best block ever. I feel like I've said that about a whole bunch of blocks. But then I finally decided we needed another building besides my house in our area, so I started terraforming this area up the hill near where we had pathed along, and then killed the spider because I wanted its string, which was a little bit scary because the skeleton snuck up on me and I killed it as well. Because that's what you get if you're going to mess with me. And so I started making another build because I wanted one that looked kind of like my house, but not really like my house, kind of smaller. And so I just started laying out the same kind of color palette as the one as my house before that, with the stone on the bottom and then the spruce wood on top. And then I continue to just build along it and fill in the areas and really just continue building. And then I waited for this amethyst crystal to grow so we could make the roof, which was very tedious and very long, and I got really bored of it really quickly. But I continued on building up the second floor. So this build will have 2 floors, but they're pretty small. And then I made these little holding areas because this build is going to have villagers in it. I don't know if I've said that yet, but we are going to put some villagers in this building because every survival Minecraft series needs villagers, and I got tired of waiting for the amethyst to grow, so I decided to journey into this mine shaft that had been connected up with my mine. And so I killed a zombie and dropped down into the mine and killed a skeleton, and then continued to just explore the mine shaft looking for chests and other things, and then stumbled upon another geode. We're really close to the other geode, so I was very happy about this because that meant I didn't have to wait any longer for the crystals to grow. So I gathered about 2 stacks full of the amethyst blocks, and then also found this chest with some glow berries in it, which was great, and a name tag, which we can always use. And then I also found another chest, and it had a looting 3 book in it, which was fine because I already had looting 3 on my sword, but I eventually decided to just cut my losses and get out of there before I died inevitably to like a skeleton or a zombie, because I feel like I'm going to die in a very horrible way like that. And then I finished off the roof of the build with the amethyst that we had collected, which did not take that long at all. And then I journeyed out to find some villagers in the village that we had already found nearby, the one with the ruined portal. looking for villagers that we could kidnap and take back to our home, and I very quickly got one in a boat and brought it all the way back to my house, which wasn't that far away, but it was hard getting a boat back through the rivers. And then I very quickly made some rails so we could transfer the villager into his place that he needs to go to, as well as a mine cart. And then I just ruined my beautiful path so we could get these rails across going all the way up. And then this happened. Yeah, not very fun. Let's start a round two. So we got more villagers, and this time we got three, so that then if one died, it wouldn't be that bad. And we successfully got them in, losing only one villager, which was a win in my opinion, because this one went straight into the nether portal. And I was so shocked by it that I didn't even like go and try and get it out. And so I eventually ended up just getting the two villagers, which was enough for me. And so I got them all set up in their little spots. I made one a cleric and one a librarian so we could get a mending book and then use all of our rotten flesh from our zombie spawner to get some emeralds. And I really wanted a mending book for my pickaxe and my axe so I didn't have to keep using my diamonds to repair them. So for the next couple of days, this was what my life looked like, just trying to find the mending book until I actually got one, and I bought two so we could put them on our axe and our pickaxe, so then we didn't have to repair them with our diamonds, which was the number one goal in trying to get a mending book. So I added them to my pickaxe first and then to my axe as well, and luckily my anvil broke right as I did that, and I have no iron, so luckily we got those mending books on our tools because they came in handy a lot later. And then I started clearing out this space because I really wanted to make a barn for our animals so that then they aren't just in regular vanilla pens. And so I started building that out, kind of taking a different approach to it than the other builds, but also still keeping it in the same kind of color scheme. But instead of the stone, we just went for the wood because this is going to be kind of a one-story building. There is a little bit of a loft, but we press on. And so I used a whole bunch of these spruce logs and dark oak logs to make this structure. I'm actually really happy you guys get to see this because you guys don't get to see a lot of my build process because I do a lot of my builds in creative mode. But for this video, I didn't do any work in creative mode before. I kind of just winged each of these builds. So you kind of see all of my processes and how I kind of make each build in a creative world, just that I had to collect the materials and have the materials on hand rather than having the ultimate guide of a creative world. But back to the build, I really quickly ran out of amethyst geode because this barn was pretty big, so I went searching in the deep ocean and found one pretty quickly. Almost drowned, was a little bit worried I was going to drown, but then really quickly gathered all of the amethyst, making sure I got all of it so that we would be set for this build, gathering all of it. Isn't it such a cute sound? I love the sound of amethystia breaking. It's such a cute sound. But then I headed home straight away so we could finish our build up with the roof, just like the other builds in our area with the amethyst block. And then I also added in this little section down here with kind of like our other garden patches, but this time with pumpkins, using a mix of coarse dirt, soul sand, and regular dirt and pods left over to make kind of a muddier area so we could put pumpkins in, because I wanted a little pumpkin farm. So I planted some pumpkin seeds and hopefully they will grow in time for the end of this video. And then I made a wheat one on the other side so we could just keep the symmetry of the build, which is always good. And then I continued on with our build, starting with the interior, making kind of pillars to separate out the 4 different sections, because we will have 4 different farm animals in here, sectioning them off with some dark oak wood and then using some spruce fences to line the walls. And then I closed off the ceiling with some dark oak trapdoors and then added in the gates that the animals will stay in, and then finished this middle section with some dark oak planks, and then started making a stairwell up to the kind of loft area up at the top. And then I made some lanterns using the very little iron that we have, which is not always the greatest, but they are cute. And then added some hay bales and some barrels around just for the aesthetics before moving our animals into the barn. First the chickens and then the cows, leading them into their respective pens before I set out to find some sheep and some pigs so that we could start breeding those up as well. Not necessarily so we have them, just so kind of to fill the space, because I don't think I necessarily will use pigs for anything, but I couldn't get 3 and not have the 4th one, so I brought them all in to their respective pens. For the sheep, bringing them into this side pen, and then the pigs into the left, and started breeding those up as well. Finished up the loft area with some spruce on the sides to kind of fill in that little awkward gap before adding in some barrels just as decoration up here, so that then it's not like an empty build. And then I decided I wanted to do something right here around this area, and I wanted to move my nether portal and make it super cute rather than having just a boring old nether portal. So I started clearing out some space and doing a bit of terraforming just so that the land looked a little bit better than it did naturally. And then I started creating kind of this stone gazebo, I guess you could call it, where we could put our nether portal in, and surrounding it with some stairs just to make it more accessible and cuter. And then I really quickly moved over our nether portal and realized that I had built it one too many, so I just decided to make the nether portal one bigger than how it originally was, which meant I would have to gather some more obsidian, but it would still keep the symmetry of the circle. And I took this quick break to follow this bee and get the hive with silk touch because I wanted it closer to my area than before, just for aesthetics mainly, not to gather honey. But I continued on with the build the next day, using some cobblestone walls to kind of create a circle kind of area before putting our bee's nest down, and then continuing with the build with this kind of trim with the dark oak, and then adding on the amethyst above, just like our other builds. And then before I knew it, it was day 98 and we had to finish things up before the 100th day. So I just did a couple of different odds and ends, like gathering the obsidian to make sure our nether portal was fully functional again, with making it bigger and lighting it as well. I didn't necessarily go into the nether again because I was way too scared to die right on before 100 days, but I made a path that connects up to it, to our other original paths. And then I also used the rest of our bone meal to add some grass and just make our area look a little bit cuter, because I wanted it to be very, very cute just in case of anything. And then I also made this little dock area because I wanted somewhere to dock our boat using the kind of trick that I guess is a build trick to use the dark oak on the bottom and then the spruce on the top to seem like the wood is wet, which I think turned out really cute. I used some spruce fences to add a little bit of a railing, which I think also turned out very, very cute. Just a little dock to dock our boat at. Adding a little lantern before moving our boat over so that then it is quickly accessible if we needed it. And then I spent the rest of day 98 just adding some other things around the place, like some sugarcane near our portal. And before I knew it, it was day 99 and it was one of our last days on this hardcore world. So I bopped out to other side and then also made sure our pumpkins were all kind of grown and added just a few more to fill the space and sheared them so they'd have their little jack-o'-lantern faces. I also added on the glowberries to our nether portal and then finished our interior of our house with some moss carpet, which is always cute. And then I displayed our other side disc near our armor because I thought it was cool. And then I made a fishing rod so we could go fishing out on our lake on our dock. And for some reason I kept forgetting how a fishing rod was made, but then we popped down into our zombie spawner slash enchanting area to enchant our fishing rod. And so I just killed the zombies until I had level 30 and I slept, and all of a sudden it was day 100. We had made it, guys, to day 100. So for day 100 I just killed the zombies until I got 30 levels and then enchanted our fishing rod with Luck of the Sea. I don't really know the enchants for the fishing rods, but then we just fished until the sun went down on our last day here. Which brings us to the end of our 100 days in hardcore Minecraft. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like. I cannot believe we survived that long. Comment down below if you guys liked this video and if we should maybe bring it back for another 100 days. Just maybe. I will catch you guys next time. Bye!